You both of your feeds are kind of blurry. Adam, you look like you're zooming in from the Arctic Circle.
I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, fuck it. Let's do it live.
All right. What is up,
Hold on.
everybody? Welcome. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Adam. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Ride the Pine, your weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes monthly, sometimes bi-monthly podcast about headlines across the sports landscape. I'm Sean Sprout. It has been a long time since we've last graced your screens and listening devices. A lot's happened since then, sports-wise and not. So we're going to cover some ground today. Helping me do just that means I'm joined by a man who's upset that we don't pay him, but little does he know it's just deferred till 2035. It's Kenny Hutton.
Nice.
Thank you. And also joining us for the first time in his life, he's happy he's not a rich CEO. It's Adam Freeman.
This is very true. And Sean, I would like to add your point of how often we record. If those of us, the people that listen, would like us to record more often, pay us.
Yeah, there's plenty of ad space going around. We could throw some stuff up there. Best thing we saw this week. Who wants to start us off? Let's get back in the swing of things. Kenny?
Let's see here. Two of my favorite bands announced that they're going on tour this week, or today, actually. Coheed and Cambria and Mastodon. I am super excited. If it gets anywhere close, I'm going. And Mizzou beat Kansas in basketball for the first time in like 15 years. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the scenes look incredible. And if that, by the way, if that concert is here, you want to come down? You want to come down to Dallas for it?
I might have to wash my hair that day.
Just throwing it out there. Just saying.
I mean, honestly, I will look at the
13-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, in the middle of the winter or whatever, it won't be that bad.
I'm sure Oklahoma would be great to drive through in the middle of the winter.
It's by far the most boring drive you could possibly make across this country. I guarantee it.
No.
Kansas, Alabama, Oklahoma, in that order.
I have driven across the barren wasteland that is Kansas. It is the worst.
I don't know. Oklahoma is pretty rough. Highway 69, nice. It randomly goes from 70 miles per hour down to 20 miles an hour, just in small little pockets. And because of that, instead of a 2-hour drive, it's a 6-hour drive. Very annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, but in Kansas, it just sucks.
Fair.
And it's Kansas. When we made that trip both ways to and from to Denver, I tried my damnedest to not spend a dime in that city. I literally tried to get gas as soon as I got in, or as soon as I got to the border to cross over, and then coming back from Colorado, I tried my hardest to not spend a dime in that stupid state.
Best thing I saw this week, I've been playing Marvel Rivals. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's a new game. I know we're dinosaurs on this podcast, so Adam, stop me if you've heard a word that you actually have heard before, but it's like a predecessor to like Overwatch or Apex Legends. I'm having a great time. Just want to shout that out. That's my best thing I saw. Adam.
I downloaded MLB The Show.
Hey, that's something.
Well, I saw that you were playing it, and I'm like, I guess I gotta. If Sean likes it, it's got to be a good game. Maybe I'll watch that Underwatch or whatever you were playing, and I'll try on that one, see how that goes. I realized I suck at MLB The Show.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get decent at it. I do a lot of like a road to the show, but then also what I've been doing lately is whenever I can't find anything on TV, I will, like while I'm working, I will turn on I'll go to franchise mode and play a franchise, but I'll watch a handful of the games and I'll put them on in the background. And my wife came home the other day from work and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know she was like, I didn't know the Cardinals were playing." She was like, "It's raining there?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I turned, "Oh, no, this is a fake game. Please don't judge me. I'm watching a fake virtual baseball game."
Okay, so I'm changing the best thing that I saw this week. It was Sean admitting that he is a loser.
We're on episode 58. If you haven't figured that out by now, I don't know what the hell to tell you. You're listening to the wrong damn podcast.
Sean, can't you do something normal like get caught watching porn by your wife, not watching virtual baseball video games?
I don't know what to tell you. I have no answer to that. I am who I am. Adam, you're muted. Oh, we can't hear you.
Cool. In an audio format, Adam loses sound.
Doing great, bud. Keep it up.
That a boy.
Not like you were next for your topic.
This is why he's the champion of life in the JDL and like permanently just enshrined there.
Yep.
I would just like. So for anybody who doesn't get the inside jokes, we're all in a fantasy football league, the JDL. Our fourth, what would you call it? Fourth overall draft pick. Oh, I thought I heard him for a second there.
Nope, not back.
Oh, there he is.
Back. He's back.
Well, I'm explaining what your permanent residency in the champion of life
overall,
is.
Right? Or no, fourth overall.
Well, now that we expanded the playoffs to 6, basically you're the 7th place team. You're the last team out of the playoffs. And Butch Jones and his my team might not be champions, but they're champions of life. So Adams won like 3 or 4 of the 6 we've handed out.
4? It is officially 4? That's brutal. That you've won a championship though, right?
Nope.
Ooh, okay. Salt in the wound. We can hear you.
Yeah.
You can hear me now? Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah.
God, whoever our fucking video intern is and our audio intern, that guy's getting fired tomorrow.
I don't know about you. I still blame our old co-host Cameron.
When in doubt, blame Cameron.
What are we talking about? This is an absolute shit show, and we're only 5 minutes into it.
Well, Adam, you're up for best of the week, so if you want to go for it.
Oh, my best thing of the week, and this is going to lead into our flurry of topics. If I can pull up the link to make sure I don't mess anything up without a Honda Palisade or whatever it is coming up in my ear, which I think is the reason what messed with my audio. My topic is going to lead into what is wrong with sports these days. And my favorite topic is the famous story of Bryce Underwood. He is the #1 quarterback in the nation that is now committed to go to the University of Michigan. And it's not that he went to Michigan. It's the pathway that found himself getting it to Michigan. Everybody knows about NIL. Everybody knows how it is completely out of control. And let's just call it free agency at this point, because that's truly what it becomes. But he's getting over $10 million to go play at Michigan. And partially because an alum is married to the second richest man in the world. And that would be Larry Ellison. He is part of I believe they call it the Champions Circle for Michigan, whatever their NIL cooperative is. And apparently his wife, not apparently, she is a graduate from Michigan. She connected with Dave Portnoy at Barstool because he came out and said that he would pay, can he correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it $1 million for whoever, the best quarterback in the nation to come to go to Michigan? And then obviously that's going to include having to do stuff for Barstool and reports and all that good stuff. But she got in touch with him and they connected, and then they brought in Larry Ellison, and he's like, sure, I'll pay for it, because $10 million to him is absolutely nothing. And it probably goes to a donation, which I'm pretty sure is how most of that stuff works. So it's probably a tax write-off. This leads into what is wrong with sports. I will firmly throw this out there, and you guys, we didn't really talk about it before. NIL is one of the things that is wrong with sports right now. And not in the sense that players should not be getting paid, but just the craziness that it is. That South Carolina had a defensive end that they literally posted out. He was a freshman, correct, Kenny?
Yep.
They restructured his deal was how they put it out there for him to come back to North Carolina for his sophomore year. A freshman that did not start. He went from $1 million to about $1.5 million, somewhere in that range for his NIL deal. They restructured his deal.
That's not true, though. He was a starter. He's probably going to be all SEC.
Either way, it's still one of those things. Like, I get it. We need to pay the kids. I totally support that, because the amount of money that college football brings in is astronomical. And then the amount of money that supports college football, when you throw in guys like Larry Ellison and all this stuff that would be able to pay just to have whatever, there has to be something that does it. I mean, Mizzou's going through it with Williams-Nwaneri, that he's leaving, and it's most likely because of playing time and wanting to restructure an NIL deal or find the next best NIL deal. I think Caden Green, another Mizzou guy, he's Oklahoma connected to Mizzou guy. Now he plays at Mizzou. You've got guys leaving all over the country that are apparently talking to God about a lot of this stuff. God is a huge college football fan. But there has to be something to this. I don't know. That leads into what's wrong with sports, but that's with that was my, I don't want to call it best thing, but crazy thing that I've seen.
Oh, it was just going to be a discussion of the headlines going on in sports right now, but we noticed a through line that they're all kind of fucked up. So the first topic, Adam, do you want to hit us with the first topic?
Yeah, so the first topic I'll go with, I don't think it's fucked up because, again, it's a guy that's getting paid. I think Juan Soto's new contract is absolutely what's wrong with the MLB. You have a guy that's going to make $51 million per year. It's 15 years, $765 million, and it's not deferred, Los Angeles. It's all paid. Steve Cohen don't care, though. He's going to pay every dime of it. He's going to pay out the ass in luxury tax. Doesn't really matter. It does have a 5-year opt-out if he wants to opt out after that. But $51 million a year, I think, is roughly 70% of what the A's payroll was last year. It's somewhere around 50% of what half of the MLB payrolls are. Throw into things that are wrong with sports. With us locally, the Cardinals doing a retool, restructure, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, dumping payroll to bring up minor leaguers. Totally cool with that. There needs to be some sort of fall or some sort of ceiling, some sort of floor, but the PAs are never going to go with that. Now you have these guys getting paid absorbent amounts of money because of it.
Let's pump the brakes for here real quick. In reality, the Juan Soto contract is $255 million over the course of 5 years. He is not going to opt out.
No, of course not.
He absolutely opts out after year 5. And thus eliminating the deal. I mean, I can't fathom. Somebody tweeted out that he gets like $10,000 a minute or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget what then the number is. I just don't know if he's worth it. Right?
I mean, his numbers are pretty impressive at his age. I don't fault him. Go get your money, kid. Like, your career is short, by all means. Like, go get it. And I saw somebody online that was like, why are we mad at Juan Soto getting paid $51 million a year when CBS is giving Tom Brady $37 million a year just to talk on TV? But my response to that is, why can't both be shit? I don't understand. I don't understand the whataboutism. Like, they both suck. That's $51 million to hit a ball, to field a ball is a lot of money. Don't fault him. That's fine. If they're going to give it to you, take it. But like, we've reached a point where it's past exorbitant amounts of money.
Well, and I think that's the point, Sean, is that I don't care if somebody wants to go get your money. I believe that, like, the common quote that everybody always says is, you're worth what somebody's going to pay you. And that doesn't matter what industry you go in. You know, like, we all know somebody that has probably been hired at a job that shouldn't have been hired at a job. But they're a fantastic interviewer. So they got the job, they got paid what it was, and they're going to go to the next job. I definitely know people that do that all day long.
Yeah.
So good for him. He got paid what he got somebody to pay for him. But that then in turn comes back to us. Like, it comes back to everybody. It comes back to the marketing that supports it. It comes back to sponsorships that support it. It comes back to ticket sales that support it. TV revenue. Like, we all complain about, YouTube TV going through with Bally's and Fox Sports and all this crap. Well, part of it is this. I mean, if leagues are paying their players to do this, the revenue has to come from somewhere. The leagues are going to charge whatever to have their team or their broadcast rights and get it. We're lucky. We are absolutely lucky that the NFL has broadcast rights locked down with public, or I'm going to call it public TV, but local TV.
Yeah, they are going to make the money up somewhere else, but also Cohen is a very rich man. This, like, at the end of the day, this is a drop in the bucket for him. But to your point, billionaires don't spend that amount of money if they don't plan on recouping it plus more. They just don't. And that's probably going to come from our pockets.
It just begs the question to me, like, how much money is actually in baseball? Because
a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
MLB is very shady about their books. But kind of like what Adam hinted at, like, their TV numbers continue to trend down.
Yes.
Like the Post-Dispatch.
Attendance.
Attendance trends down. The Post-Dispatch had an article the other day. Now, I think it was absolutely ridiculous. It was have the Chiefs surpass the Cardinals as far as fandom in St. Louis goes. But
No.
you're measuring apples versus oranges. You're measuring one Chiefs game a week versus 6 games a week potentially with the Cardinals. And you're also not factoring into the fact that you're right. The NFL has public network broadcasting deals.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta know, like, yeah, sure, it's a billionaire throwing around a lot of money, but are the Mets making money at all? Like, it just seems.
I don't think the Mets are making money at all. I think Steve Cohen is making money. I think
Sure.
the Mets are obviously not his only investment. He's got real estate. He's spread pretty like across the board. His portfolio is
Sure.
pretty wide. He's making money. I don't know if the Mets are making money. And I understand people will say, well, Cohen is the Mets. Mets are the Cohen. No, Mets are Cohen. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're completely different entities.
But for him to literally not defer any money, like that was the one thing that we could talk about, like as far as money goes, the Shohei Ohtani contract is essentially the Dodgers ownership group could put that money into a bank account. And since he deferred it, let that interest grow.
Mm-hmm.
And now you, me, Adam, our interest is dollars upon pennies per year, where millions upon millions of dollars is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just think about all the money the Dodgers made by having an entire Japanese fan base buy Ohtani jerseys. And they're just going to make money off that interest. And they're basically going to pay Ohtani off this interest of this money they set aside. For the Mets not to do that with Soto, it's like, man, how much money is involved in baseball?
The interest alone on Ohtani's deal would pay for multiple minor league player salaries.
Oh yeah. I think the number was, what was it? It's like for every 2.5 million fans in revenue, an MLB team makes it's like $120 million in revenue. Now, I took the best class I ever took, and honestly, probably the only class I got anything out of was a sports statistics class at UMSL, and it was taught by a guy that was in PR for, I think it was the Islanders. It was one of the East Coast hockey teams. I know that, but he went through like a breakdown of a profit and loss for whatever team it was at the year that I was in the class. So it was probably 2002, 2003. Well, I guess, yeah, they probably did. It was 2002, 2003. And your revenue, your your attendance revenue is usually a third of what your marketing revenue is.
Right.
So the marketing revenue is really what pays the salary of your players.
Yeah.
Your attendance revenue is what pays the salary of your overhead inside the company. Yeah. So when I took the class, it was probably 4 years old, but still, I mean, that's where these teams get their money. And being in a city like New York, there's a ton of marketing and sponsorship revenue.
And the other part of it that kind of confuses me with specifically with the Soto deal is they're spending all this money for a middle 20s in prime player when they passed for a middle 20s in prime player for less money in Mookie Betts, and now he's an LA Dodger. But now they're ready to spend the money when they weren't ready to spend it before on him. I don't understand the difference. So they spent probably twice, maybe 3 times as much as they would have on Mookie Betts. They still have to go out and get pitching. They don't even they still have to decide if they're going to re-sign Pete Alonso or not. They don't have a first baseman. So I don't understand it just from a sporting perspective. We already talked about it financially. I don't understand how this makes the Mets better in the short term.
Wonderful question.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at it right now. Their starting rotation is Clay Holmes, Frankie Montas, Kodai Sanaga, and David Peterson. Mm-hmm. I'm not blown away by that.
There's worse. There's worse starting
rotations. There's definitely worse. For sure there's worse.
St. Louis Cardinals. But
the Phillies have a better rotation in the East.
The Braves are better.
Well, the Braves just lost Max Fried because
they did. That's true. That just happened today. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning a division unless they can go out and they can go and sign another top ace for that rotation.
I don't see them being better than Philadelphia right now. I really don't. I think Philly's lineup is better than the Mets.
Yeah. Which that's what baffles me. It almost comes it almost has nothing to do with the sporting aspect, and it just was Steve Cohen trying to stick it to the Yankees because the Yankees offered one
100%.
extra year on the deal, but I think like $5 million less overall if you don't include the incentives. So I think it was just offered just to spur the Yankees.
Yeah, and I think the total deal, if he goes through with it, he has the opportunity to make $800 million with incentives, which is mind-blowing.
Asinine.
So let's go to another thing that's wrong with sports, right up Kenny's alley. Let's go to the ice hockey. The craziest thing that I've seen in a long time, well, second craziest next to Doug Armstrong and his 2 RFA claims, that's just awesome, is the trade of Jacob Truba. And not in the sense that it's a crazy trade, but in the sense of what is the rumor to have happened behind the scenes. That allegedly, Chris Drury, the GM of the New York Rangers, went to Truba and said, hey, man, if you're not going to accept any of these no trade teams or any team that we can trade you to, we're going to put you on waivers, which then means that any team can claim you. Now, that's how a lot of teams get away with it. That's what happens, and I totally get it. But you also have to remember, these teams sign that contract. These teams agree to the terms. These teams understand what's going on. And to me, I don't think that it's right that a GM should be able to go to a player and say, hey, we're just going to put you on waivers. You can get picked up and go wherever you want to go if you're not going to agree to a trade. They were the ones that said, okay, cool, here's your no trade. Kenny?
Bro, literally at the start of the season, we are talking about that's what Army should do with Torrey Krug.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Blues fans would be the biggest set of hypocrites to be like, oh, what happened to Jacob Truba? By the way, who is a major league asshole.
Oh my God.
Yes.
He's so bad.
He got what he deserved. That we should be like, the Rangers shouldn't have done that. They should have treated Jacob Truba better. So I'm not going to have any sympathy for either party in this scenario, but like, come on, man. We were talking about Army doing this at the beginning of the year.
So is the Rangers moving on from him? Is it more a locker room decision than it is anything else? Do you think that's it?
Gotta be, man. It has to be.
Didn't they just fire the coach this year too?
Did they?
I thought they did.
Here's why it kind of confuses me from a Rangers standpoint. You're fighting for a playoff spot. You're right in the wild card race essentially right now. They're fifth in the Metropolitan Division out in the East. Jacob Truba, while he may be an asshole, he's a pretty good hockey player. So you have him under control for this season and next season. And then you trade him for really not much. And I understand the Rangers do have an inflated salary that they need to cut. Like, I understand that, but you're in the middle of a playoff race of about a fourth to a half of the way through the season. I don't understand moving on from him at this point and then shipping him to Anaheim. Anaheim's basically in last place, but they get a piece now that they can kind of build around, at least for the next year or so. They're going to be better next year with him than without him. I don't see how this benefits New York besides maybe getting rid of a guy who clashed with some of the other guys in the locker room. They're a playoff team with him. They're not a playoff team without him, in my opinion. And they've lost their last 2 games without him. One of them to Chicago, who's in last place.
So this is the one thing that sucks about Cap Friendly being bought is that I don't really have a good website to go to anymore, because my guess is that at $56 million, so his AAV is $8 million. You got a clear cap for LaFontaine, I believe I'm saying his name right, and Kaku Kapu. Like, that would be my guess, is that those contracts are coming up and that they want to clear salary cap for that. Now, lo and behold, Bettman was talking about the other day that apparently they have to get the PA's approval because the salary cap is apparently going to be jumped by more than 5%, which for some reason has to have the PA's approval. So, I mean, there's some wiggle room there, but as a team that's probably already in cap hell, losing $8 million is a big step for them.
Yeah, but wouldn't you make that trade in the offseason when when you know you're not going to be pushing for a playoff run? I mean,
They tried to.
they did try. They did try to. So why
Because I
wouldn't you
believe in
wait?
the offseason, he had a full no trade clause.
Correct.
Because with the way the NHL contracts work, is usually the puck has to drop on the season for a lot of these things to take place. Now, you could have also, been waiting for the waiver move to be made. Like, hey, you're not going to do that. I'll take $8 million off my salary cap. If nobody claims you, then I'll pay you $8 million to go to wherever my minor league team is at and just deal with it.
Yeah.
Because it's off the books. So
no matter what, the Rangers now, they have to win. They put themselves in a position where they trade away arguably one of, if they're not their best player, but he's up there. Zibanejad is a better player, my opinion, obviously. But you have to win.
I forgot about, they got that new Shesterkin deal too. Damn.
Yeah. They just.
That was going to be my next point, is that apparently in all of this, Shesterkin came out and said that Drew was an asshole to work with when it came to restructuring his deal too.
So the Rangers are 0-2. Like I said, they just lost 2-1 against Chicago Blackhawks, who are in last place. The offense looked horrible in that game. Like I said, I don't see how this move makes them better. We were just talking about how does the move for the Mets make them better? Same thing for the Rangers. I don't think they're a playoff team anymore. I think this knocks them out of it.
Can you say that again, but slower? The part about the Blackhawks.
Which part? About the fact the Blackhawks won a hockey game? I don't know which part you.
Nope. The other one.
The Chicago Blackhawks are in last place.
I just think
next topic.
I think it's fantastic that the TNT's doing the Road to the Winter Classic, and they started out the whole episode with it. Obviously it's the Blues and Blackhawks. They started it out with like really diving into Montgomery being named the new head coach for the Blues and Bannister being gone. And no more than 3 days later, the Blackhawks said, "Hold on, we're gonna fire our coach too."
Yeah.
I got a topic for you.
Oh, you guys got a new coach? I need a new coach too.
You love to see it. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else in our headlines or things we hate in sports?
I got one more. We're gonna
Who's your Heisman?
To the gridiron, and Kenny called it "Who's the Heisman?" That is what's wrong with sports. The Heisman Trophy finalists were announced for 2024, and I think it is an absolute crime. Well, one of the names is a crime. Ashton Genty, 100% Heisman Trophy winner. It should be a runaway for him. The year that he's had at Boise State, I don't care about the talent that he's had. Runaway Heisman. Cam Ward, probably the best statistical season for a quarterback. I think he was top 5 across the board in most passing statistics. Dylan Gabriel's on there, a little bit of a question mark, but he is the quarterback at Oregon. They are the number 1 team in the nation. They're at least in the finals of the championship game, so I can kind of get that. They probably are the winner of the championship game, let's be honest. The one that I have a problem with is, for the love of God, can we stop putting guys into award categories that do not deserve it? Travis Hunter is a jack of all trades and a master of none of them. And when I say none of them, I mean none of them. He is not the top wide receiver. He's not even a top 5 wide receiver in the country. He's not even the top wide receiver in the Big 12. And let's go to defense. Guess what? Not top 5 in that either. And rarely is he top 10. Is it just because he plays both sides of the ball? Is it just because of Deion Sanders? I get it. The kid is a marketing aspect. He's probably a top 5 pick in the NFL. That's fantastic. But I would be more happy with Shedeur Sanders being a Heisman candidate than him being a Heisman candidate.
I don't disagree. Yeah. I mean, the Big 12 announced that Sanders was their offensive player of the year. I think it's Genty. If he doesn't get it, it's a crime. But knowing the Heisman voters, it'll probably be Ward or Gabriel. So,
I think it'll be Hunter. I really do. I think it's going to be Hunter.
Honestly, like, again, I just don't see, like, I get it. Like, Power Mizzou talked Gabe off the ledge. Gabe was like, I'm voting for Travis Hunter. And somebody's like, dude, no, you've got to actually like look at the stats. Like most snaps, this is not a participation trophy. This is the best player in college football. And if your stat line is, oh, you had 3 broken up passes and 50 yards, it's not great.
Yeah, so I pulling it right now. He is 8th in pass deflections, tied for 8th with 11. The leader had 17. Interceptions, he is tied for 17th with 4. The leader had 7. And touchdowns, which you would think Travis Hunter, man, he probably had a ton of interceptions returned for a touchdown. Anybody want to take a guess at how many he had?
9.
No, he had 0.
Oh, you were saying defensively?
Yeah, defensively. No, none. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. He did have 14 receiving touchdowns. I'll give him that. Yards, he was 6th. And again, I say that he was not the best or leading wide receiver in the Big 12. That's because I can't even say his first name. I'm going to call him Tetris McMillan. Had more at Arizona. And he's probably, honestly, McMillan is probably a better wide receiver candidate than Travis Hunter will be. He probably should be the number 1 receiver off the board, but he won't because Travis Hunter will be picked as a wide receiver DB.
We said it earlier. All of the money that's in college sports right now, that's in college football, the Heisman is going to be about who's the most marketable at the end of the day. That's really what
the Nissan commercials.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm sorry, a guy from Colorado who plays 2 positions winning the Heisman is better for college football next year and the year after that because it puts Colorado and that program up on a pedestal. And that's exactly where NCAA wants them to be. So,
but does it really, like, in my opinion,
yes, it does. It definitely does.
The better story is Ashton Genty. That is the way better.
To a diehard like you, to me, who watches 2 college football games a year, I know Hunter's name. I don't know the other dude's name.
Yeah, but I think that you get a guy that is the leading rusher by a lot in the country, and he's at a school that is a smaller school that is now in the playoff, that they can market the crap out of him being in the playoffs. And the fact that it's a smaller school. I mean, hell, BYU just got the number 1 recruit. Granted, they probably paid a fortune to get the number 1 basketball recruit for 2025. I think these kids that are going to smaller schools and having big-time numbers, big-time displays, that's the better story.
I don't think it's the better story. One of these guys was invited to the college football 25 debut and was playing video games with a bunch of celebrities and is on commercials and is all over the place and in your face, and you know who his head coach is. And I'm sorry, one guy is significantly more marketable than the others on that list, regardless of small school or big school. That's just what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Guys, just in case you were wondering, Ashton Genty to win the Heisman at the beginning of the season was plus 50,000. Congrats to the person that put money on that.
For real.
Wetting it out for another 4 days.
Oh man.
I think I'd cash out on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently Travis Hunter is minus 2,500.
And was he was probably one of the favorites at the start of the year.
Oh yeah, of course.
Kind of goes into my point.
I don't know. It's so stupid, though.
So
he's not the best player in college football. It should be the best player in college football.
I agree. Fortunately, it's not. Next topic.
That was all I got.
No, golden bat rule. We had a whole thing. What are you talking about?
So MLB, I don't even remember what it is. Oh, the MLB is coming out with the golden bat rule. Apparently, it's a big thing, according to Commissioner Manfred. He's a dumbass anyway, so who knows? But the golden bat rule is that you can use one pinch hitter of any point in your lineup at any point in a game, one time a game. Literally, it is rec league, whatever bullshit you want to call it, the dumbest rule ever. Let's just change the game all around. So
I thought it was like unlimited at bats too.
No, you get a one time a game for one spot.
Yeah.
So what that means is that who brought it up is that you could have 1 out, bottom of the ninth, Mike Trout on deck against Shohei Ohtani, and you're going to pinch hit Mike Trout ahead of Mike Trout to go against Shohei, and then Mike Trout can bat again if he strikes out.
Right.
Yeah. Sit on that one for a minute.
And MLB already walked it back. There was a lot of criticism. So they have already said it's not going to happen.
And it should never happen. And I think, I forgot who said it. It was, who was it? It might have been Jeff Passan. It said something along the lines of, people are not watching the game because they want to see Mike Trout versus Shohei Ohtani 2 times in a row. People are not watching the game because it's not entertaining, and that's not going to change it. Changing the game is not going to do it. You're just making up a new game for them.
Fans are asking for no blackouts. They're asking for cheaper ticket prices. They're asking for basic things here. And then Manfred is like, oh no, what if we do this dumb golden bat mechanic?
Yeah. So stupid. So that led to our discussion of what rule would you implement into sports as the golden rule.
Kenny, I know you
go first.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Kenny, you said you had a good one. Do you want to go first? Or do you want to save yours for last?
Let me just go first.
Okay, go for it.
I believe in professional and potentially college football. If you want to use this rule, you can throw a golden flag after your opponent scores and force them to go for 2.
I think that's a good one. I think you do it anyways. I mean,
I don't hate that. I came into this thinking I was going to hate both of the things that you guys said.
No, I wanted this to be like a legit thing that I could see potentially happen. And like, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, think about like how crazy all these Chiefs games have been. They have now won 7 games and have won 7 games against the spread. Wait, hold on. Is that they haven't covered in 7 games? Like, think how crazy that would be if Andy Reid all of a sudden was like, boom, golden flag, Jim Harbaugh. And like the game Monday night doesn't end on a kick that it gets doinked, right? Like, because he's out 2 points. Like, it would just be insane.
I saw a stat that basically tried to put it to a percentage of how much of a specific individual team's games are influenced by field goals. It was something along the lines of Chiefs were the highest. It was like 76% or around 76% of their games were influenced the most by field goals. So if you force that away and you put the ball in Mahomes' hands to try and make a play, one, is that entertaining as hell. 2, they may not be 11-1. Just saying.
I'm just using that. I'm just using Monday night as an example, but could you imagine, like, I'm trying to think of a game that came down to the wire. Like, okay, so Penn State comes roaring back against Oregon on Saturday, and all of a sudden Dan Lanning goes, you know what? I got a way to stop them. I'm going to throw the golden flag. I'm going to force them to go for 2 here. And then they miss it. And you're talking about momentum killer.
What about just changing it to a go for it rule? That you get 1 call a game, no matter what time of the game it is, they have to go for it on 4th down if they're going to punt it or if they're going to kick a field goal.
Yeah, but they could phone it. You could phone that in. You could purposely not make it on 4th down and just give a turnover to the other team if that's what you were going to punt anyway.
I mean, but think about it. If you're at 4th and goal from the 5, you're down by 1 or 2, and you're going to kick a field goal to take the lead. Nope, you're going to go for it. Sorry, you have to go for it. 4th and 15 from the 45, whatever it would be, and you're going to punt it, pin them back within the usually around the 10, somewhere right around there. Nope, you got to go for it.
I don't have a good thing to equate it to, but that feels like introducing checkers into a chess game, whereas like Kenny still feels like chess. I don't know if that makes sense.
I get it. I like it. I'd sign up for it right now.
I like
I
it,
would
Kenny.
also add this with a caveat. If you included the UFL, you would have to go for the 3 and not the 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
People more than often go with the 2.
2.
Like,
yeah.
Yep.
which wouldn't shock me if it comes to the NFL. The NFL loves to steal ideas from the XFL/UFL. So
yeah, I agree. Adam, do you want to go next? Or you want me to go?
I'll go. Mine will never be implemented because I wanted to go with what the MLB did. I went with hockey, and everybody loves when the goalie gets pulled, right? Pulls the goalie. It's 6-on-5. Kenny, shut up. It's 6-on-5. The action is intense. There's chances all over the place, and sometimes a team comes from behind, and they're I'm killing it right now.
Yeah, you are.
And they're able to tie up the game. So my rule is, if you want to pull a goalie, you get the option to put that board in front of the goal that's got the puck cut out of it. From your own blue line, you get 1 shot. If you make it, you go up 1 goal, and we flip it. And if you miss
we weren't
game's
doing
over.
real answers.
Apparently we're not.
Oh no.
No.
Think of the action though. It's 2 minutes. You pull the goalie. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for the 2-point goal. Put the board in. I'm gonna get Paul, the guy that just nailed the putt from the other end of the basketball court the other night. I'm gonna put him at the blue line. Whoever, they're gonna have to slide the puck down and get it in between the little slot. And now they go up 1 goal. And if they miss, game's over. Everybody goes home. I think the excitement would be intense.
I rescind my earlier statement because I hate one of the 2 has been presented here tonight.
I knew mine would get hated, but I'm telling you, the excitement would be there for it. It'd be like watching a penalty shot in the 3rd period.
But there's no
Except
point in it. Like,
if he misses, you go home.
It's like watching a penalty shot without the excitement of a penalty shot.
No, see what kind of spurred the idea is
no. Hold on.
And then does the winner win a truck at the end? Do they get $50,000 to whatever charity they
game
want?
is over. It
the
ends
problem
right
with
there.
this though is that it's like if somebody shoots up a 3 at the last minute as the buzzer goes off, there's a 50-50 chance that ball's going in. To shoot a puck into the
50-50.
Closer to 30. Yeah.
Listen. It's either yes or no. 50-50.
That's not how math works, but that's fine.
When I shoot
Kenny, even my math doesn't make that work. The average NBA player is like 34% or less than 30% from 3-point line.
But still, if I'm doing an action once, it's either going to make it or it's not. I don't know why we're getting fucking technical here. But the idea of hitting the puck size thing in one of those wooden goalies is near impossible.
How much smaller do you think a basketball is than a basketball hoop?
It's not much smaller, but everybody knows how to shoot a basketball.
Size. I'm telling you, I would like to see the odds of an NHL player. We'll say red line. We'll make this even. Red line into the slot of the board.
Even.
Versus half court an NBA player launching up the 3.
Oh,
let's see the odds, because I bet you an NHL player scores first.
Bullshit.
No,
I bet you they do.
There's no way.
I think they would.
The best part of this argument is we'll never know.
I'm gonna find a way.
This is not happening.
Kenny, I'm calling your brother tomorrow and seeing if he's got any hookups. I want to see how many times we could do this.
Kenny, I'm glad you mentioned basketball because that's where mine is going to go. And I think mine not only is viable, I think it should 100% be implemented. Mine is I want to bring a penalty box to the NBA. Currently, you get 6 fouls. If you commit 6 fouls, you foul out. I think after the 3rd foul, the 4th, 5th, and the 6th, so on your 4th foul, counts as a foul, and you sit for 2 minutes. And the game goes on, and they play 5 against 4. 5th foul, same thing. 6th foul, you're out, but they still have a 2-minute penalty. I think that would be exciting as hell. I think that would be fantastic. I think for flagrants, you automatically bump that up to a 5-minute.
5.
Kenny, you look very skeptical. I think this is great.
I mean, by nature, to put somebody on the basketball court, the game has to stop. So like you don't get that excitement that like the NHL gets of when somebody comes out of the penalty box and your team's got possession. Maybe you could throw a long pass. So I don't know.
So by nature, yes, it would have to stop. But why? Why can't they
So-
just come back onto the court once the 2 minutes is up?
I have a question because I don't watch a lot of NBA, but I did watch one of the games where the floor was a different color than normally is. Like I
The
think it was the Lakers
in-season
game,
tournament?
it was bright yellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really threw off my eyes a little bit. But one thing I noticed about the NBA game is a lot of possessions are odd man rushes anyways.
Yeah.
So what's the point? There's always a guy sitting at the other end that they just throw it down to. I think his name was LeBron.
See, well, yeah, that's true. That's just because LeBron is old and he doesn't want to run the court anymore. That's a little different.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know if there is a ton of odd man rushes. I would like to see the numbers on that compared to like college or something. I'm not sure.
I feel it's just
how
run
true
down,
that is.
heave it up for that 50% shot, and then come back.
I think that they're just more precise. They're just better at their jobs. They're just better at getting to the rim. And I think that's because defense isn't as prioritized as much. But when you're forced 4-on-5 for 2 minutes, you're going to have to play some pretty damn good defense for those 2 minutes.
I thought you were going to go with the orange card in soccer, so I was totally not ready for your.
Is that goalie rules or goalie wars?
But I don't even know what you're talking about.
There is a proposed rule in, I want to say it's the championship. So instead of having a yellow and basically having 2 yellows go directly to a red, you'd create like this orange level where it's, not deemed 2 fouls that were worthy of being sent off. Maybe you get suspended still, but like, I don't know. I saw your eyes roll, Sean.
Yeah, I hate that. The reason why I didn't choose soccer is because I'm like a purist when it comes to my favorite sport. Don't fuck with my favorite sport. Don't change it. I hate VAR. I want VAR to go away. It's the worst thing that's happened to the game in 100 years. No. I didn't choose soccer because I don't want to change a damn thing. It's already a perfect game.
So what I gathered from this whole conversation is that my half ice or mid ice shot to win the game or to lose the game is the best of all of them. Cool. Sean, wrap this up.
Your homework until next week or whenever we record again is I want you to find numbers on how often people hit those. I want to find a percentage of how often people.
Well, we're talking about you and I hitting it, standing on the ice and shoot.
Then we can use it as a baseline to project how an NHL player would do it. I didn't say now. That's what I want you to spend your homework on, because I feel like the number is very low because they wouldn't be offering a Dodge Durango for the prize if you hit it. They wouldn't be offering a prize like that if it was hit very often.
So apparently an NBA player from mid-court, Kenny, was really close at 50%. It's 1 in 100. So pretty close.
I didn't say mid-court, dick. Richard.
All right, we're getting out of here. Adam, you can do that research on your own like you do with all of your other conspiracy theories. Any final thoughts, guys, before we call it? Anybody have anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm researching.
I have one. Shout out to LA Galaxy for winning MLS Cup, and the expansion draft for San Diego FC is on the same day this podcast will get released. On the 11th of December. What?
No, fuck the Galaxy.
All right. Everybody have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.